Hey guys, how you doing? It's Tom. I'm back with another video. And on this video, I wanted to kind of do an update on something that happened here in Manila, in Makati area of Manila last weekend. And I believe it was on February 19th, but it was like around 12:30 a.m. So that's Sunday. So I'm guessing, it was Saturday night into Sunday. Technically it was Sunday because it was after midnight. There was an armed robbery. Two guys on a motorcycle um, tried to rob a couple. One of them was from New Zealand, I believe, the victim, and his girlfriend, who I believe was a local Filipina, I believe. I kind of read both stories. There was a story that first came out when it happened, and then now there's been an update. So I'll just give you so if the I's aren't dotted here, I'm just giving you what I see on the news here, what I read on the news. So what happened was, like I said, it was after midnight. Two guys on a motorcycle. One guy that's not riding the motorcycle gets off the bike and attempts to rob this couple on the street. And the initial story said that the guy, the foreigner, the New Zealander, was grappling with the gun, to try and get the gun away from the robber, and then got shot, in the chest, and unfortunately was killed. So I mean there's been no changes in information about that, so I'm assuming that is what happened because that's what initially was reported. And then after that happened, before they fled on the motorcycle, they took the phone and I believe some money from the girl, from his girlfriend, and then before they fled. Okay, so now the update is that they have a guy in custody now, based on like eyewitness, information from three people that identified this guy as the shooter. I think initially he said that he wasn't the shooter. I don't know if he's still claiming that he wasn't the shooter, but he says that he rented a car for the robbers, And just so you know, like here in the Philippines, they call these type of guys hold-uppers. That's like a common terminology, because that's what they do. I mean, it's a very literal, name, right? A hold-upper. So anyway, so he had come in, I guess, to answer questions or something, and was initially trying to say that he wasn't the one that did it and all that, but then there were three eyewitnesses that said they saw him, as the shooter, And I believe now they're looking for the other gentleman or person that was riding the bike, So anyway, so that was pretty quick. I mean, this was last, like, Saturday night into Sunday, and here it is Saturday morning, and then I think this happened like yesterday. So it was less than a week it took them to find the suspect and put him into custody. Listen, I'm just going to say this. This is because I give advice here. I am an advice channel. I am kind of an information channel, This has happened. This happens before. This isn't the first time that there's been an armed robbery, against a foreigner or whatever. And I'm just going to caution you guys to 99% of the time that this has happened in the past, it always is late at night, okay? Like after midnight. That's sort of like the MO, like we say in the U.S., the modus operandi. It's always, generally after midnight. Sometimes in the past, it's happened to, a foreigner that might have a few beers in them. Let's just put it that way. Oftentimes, maybe they're not. Sometimes they're by themselves, but sometimes they're with somebody, you know. But they're always outside, of course, on a public way, and it's late at night. And especially this was on a weekend. This was like Saturday night into Sunday. Okay. So I'm just putting it out there, guys, to be careful. You know. You know, I guess I'm not. It's hard to tell people, oh, don't go out after midnight. But I mean, that's usually when this type of thing happens, you know, or in the past. And it's not like it happens frequently, you know, but it has happened, you know. So just be careful, you know. Don't try to, if you don't have to go out late at night, especially, you know, if you're an older guy, like in my age range, I mean, you're probably not going to be out at that hour, you know. No matter what city you live in, you know, this happened to happen in Makati, but this has happened in other cities, believe me, smaller cities throughout in the Philippines, you know. So, yeah, it's definitely not like a Manila thing, you know. This has happened frequently in other areas of the Philippines, that's for sure. And wherever there's a high amount of foreigners, okay, you're always going to get a higher percentage of possibility that you know there's scams out there. You know what I mean? This is just blatant armed robbery, but I mean there's other things that you could be a victim of. Whenever you're, you know, I mean you have a higher incidence of it when you're living in an area that has a lot of foreigners because, you know somebody break the law, you know, or whatever, or scam somebody. No, you're going to go where the money's at, right? I mean that's what people do all over the world. You know, whenever. You know, you're talking about burglars and robbers and this and that all over the world. They go where the money's at, you know, where people with money, right? And that's generally going to be, in this country, it's going to be what, you know, where there's a lot of Westerners, you know. So just be careful, you know. Like I said, try to avoid going out that late at night. I mean, you know, if you're a young guy, you're not alone. Maybe you're with other Filipino friends or whatever. It's probably very low likelihood that maybe that would happen, right? Or, you know, compared to being like by yourself and, you know. But this gentleman was only 34 years old, this victim. So anyway, but yeah, just be careful, guys, you know. But they, you know, they were very diligent, it seems, on this case. I mean, they really were interested in finding this guy, you know, as quick as possible, and it looks like they did. So that's good on them. Good on the Philippine Police Department. So, but that's about it, guys. Yeah, I'll probably crank out a couple other videos, you know, this weekend. But I wanted to just give an update on this. You know what? I'll add real quick. If in fact this guy did sort of try to wrestle the gun away from the robber, I would not recommend doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, really, is it worth your... It shouldn't have happened, right? Obviously, you know, I'm just saying, if you're in that position, just give them the money, you know, give them some money, give them the phone, you know, you could buy those things, you know, those things just have a certain amount of value that you can replace, but you can't replace your life, you know. So I would that's another piece of advice, you know what I mean? Don't try and be Steven Seagal, you know, or whatever, you know, and try, you know, you know what I mean? Especially when you're with somebody, you're with your girlfriend. I mean, you know, I know that you always want to be a hero and stuff, but might have been, I think it's a lot safer just to, you know, and it doesn't hurt to sort of have a separate pocket where you just have what you might call throwaway money, you know, in that pocket, so you could just say, oh, this is all my money, you know what I mean? Even though it's not all your money, you know. That's not a bad idea, you know. Other guys do that. They'll have a second wallet, some expats, you know, that they'll just give, you know, like a junk wallet that'll have a certain amount of money in there, but that's it, you know, like, and it's not their main thing. It doesn't have all their IDs, doesn't have all their money. It just has, you know, that's not a bad idea, you know, to do that. So, all right, guys, that's about it. Yeah, I just wanted to give that update. I don't usually sort of do videos on like news stories necessarily, but you know, I thought this was kind of important. You know, yeah, and this happened in, like I said, this was in Makati, which is a lot of Westerners in Manila. You know, it's a very kind of a high-end area, very nice area. You know, so good infrastructure and everything else. You know, Western restaurants. You know, it's got the whole thing. You know, the whole shot. So, all right, guys, that's about it. I will talk to you guys later. I hope you have a great weekend coming up. All right, I'll see you later.